German Chancellor Angela Merkel arrived in Niger on Monday on the second day of her three-nation African tour. Merkel is seeking investment opportunities which her government hopes will drive economic development and curb future waves of migration to Europe. She was scheduled to hold talks with Nigerian President Mahamadou Issoufou. The German leader was also expected to meet with the Niger branch of the International Organization for Migration. Merkel has described Africa as the central problem in Europe's migration crisis. Meanwhile, Chancellor Merkel has pledged to support Mali in the fight against drug and people smuggling. Merkel says Mali is a country of transit for migrants and drug and human traffickers. She believes it's vital to put an immigration partnership in place between African countries and the European Union to help develop entering citizens to curb the need for migration.
There are relatively few refugees coming from Mali to Germany, very few in comparison. In France, it is somewhat different. But that we are talking about here is Mali is a transit land, a passage for drug smuggling, but also the potential that people traffickers are using the route. And that is why we have a fundamental interest in stabilizing the country.
And for more on this, we're joined here in studio by Dr. Caspar Chege, a senior policy advisor and director at the Africa Policy Institute. Dr. Chege, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks so much, Panama.
How would you describe the ties between Germany and the continent?
I will describe it as progressively starting to engage. Germany starting to engage. For many years, they've been a silent player in global politics. And now we're seeing that Germany is starting to warm up to the idea of engaging Africa, because strategically Africa is on the rise. We have a lot of our economies are booming. At the same time, Africa is also connected to the international world, and they're realizing things like immigration are now affecting them. So now Germany is working hard to make sure that they have a global agenda, which includes Africa.
Right.
So ties are increasing. We're seeing the number of employees they have in Africa have grown by almost 100,000. They have new companies that are coming, about 800 companies now. So we can see that Germany definitely has an agenda to increase its role in Africa. Yes.
And also part of that agenda, at least with Chancellor Merkel now, is to help stem the flow of migrants from the continent to Europe. What is her strategy and will it work?
Merkel has two strategies. One is security-based and one is economic-based. Basically, she wants to increase the capacity of troops in Mali. And so they have a lot of training. They want to build a base in Africa. So we can see the first thing she wants to do is create a base in order to curb the security issues. The second thing is to develop economic opportunities for the people in Mali, for the people in Niger. So those are her two main approaches in order to reduce the flow of immigrants.
And do you see them working?
Do I see them working? They'll only work in concert with other European countries. Most of the European nations right now are economically unable to handle security issues solely. So she's going to have to work with France. She's going to have to work with Italy in order for her what she's planning to do to work. Yes.
But what specific incentives are needed in order to stem this problem of migration from at least the migrants, to hold them in the continent here?
Well, a lot of these immigrants, we have to realize they're Africans. They're like they're regular people who need food, shelter, clothing. That's the primary reason they're running away. And so one of the things that she has to do and work with the African governments is to provide the economic aptitude for the people. So that means job creation in agriculture, in infrastructure, so that people have work and livelihood. The other thing that they need to do is work on security. People have to feel safe in order to be productive. So those are two incentives that are going to keep the people in the continent. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard because naturally those areas are nomadic people. So they've been immigrating back and forth for years. So in order to stay in the continent, they're going to have they need to create a way for people to have a livelihood.
Right, but just of course moving away from just the issue of illegal migration. I mean, we've seen a steady flow of migrants, people emigrating from Africa to the US, to Europe.
Correct.
So question is, should the issue of migrants from Africa be likened to brain drain, and at what cost, especially when you talk about people in the diaspora, remitting money back to the continent?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So I think we definitely have economic gain. Now, when it comes to brain drain, It's mostly countries like Kenya, Ethiopia, Nigeria that have really been hit hard because it's scholars and intellectuals who are leaving. So there's two differences. Here, most of the immigrants who are leaving, they're not leaving because they are being called to be professors and to go teach. They're really running for economic reasons. So I wouldn't liken this particular situation to the idea of brain drain. I would liken it to more in economic gains in remittances from those parties that cross the strait into Europe. Yes.
Let's leave it there for now. Dr. Caspar Chegol, it's a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.